Ah, my friend, you have deserted the seas for the comforts land has to offer. Welcome home. Aye, it was time. If not for the passing, my torch would be extinguished. Can you truly give up what she offers? Her countless mysteries, her beauty, her treachery, all found in the journey, which is most precious of all. Aye, my heart fractures. A new generation must conquer the unknown in my stead. I'm glad you made it, my friend. But I must ask, where did you send those young men? Currents beyond memory. We've tread them before. Like many things once essential, they have been lost. Surely you haven't sent them into uncharted waters. Safety is readily available in the mainstream. Many ships and a sure passage. Nay. Untold scores of brave men created the path. Us amongst them. Where once innovation and creativity were, now stands idle bootlickers and hapless cowards. So nay, I did not send them to the mainstream. I've simply given them a heading. They may fail. Aye, they may. 'Tis the risk of great men. But a new age is here. In its course will be set upon the iron seas of fate. And to these brave men and women I say, Godspeed, and hail the Iron Age.
Ahoy! Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the Iron Seas. All right.
I
As we
sail.
see,
I'm
AC's
sailing.
you're sailing.
Ahoy.
So
Ahoy.
AC is not here with us today. We ran into a bit of trouble. He's a bit sick.
He was
so
shot
we brought in
by sickness.
Brought in Evelyn in. Yeah. So
you won't even notice AC's gone. You'll be like, oh yeah. The knowledge level is 1 to 1.
You gotta hit your vape real quick. That'll really sell it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that part of that.
Good bearings put on too. Yeah. All right, so we got a few topics to talk about. So starting off, you guys want to get Fallout out of the way because it feels like a lot of people already talked about it.
Everybody for every episode except for the last one. Everybody on the last one. That about cover it.
I can't make that
pretty much. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of it, but it feels like the normal channels that criticize this stuff kind of like it, and I get it, but also it's interesting. I think Critical Drinker is the one I was like, I thought that was weird. I thought he'd be a little bit more critical of the plot.
Like, again, we kind of touched on this before stream too, but I think the main thing is that so many adaptations of things that we love have been so garbage for especially the last 5 years. Anytime something isn't complete shit, people are much more forgiving of it.
The bar is so low.
Yeah, we need James Cameron to go back down and pull that thing up because it's just.
Yeah, I mean, so there was characters that I genuinely liked in it. They had good growth in the show, but there was also just
tremendous growth.
Gotta have the growth.
Yeah, but I mean, there was just plot details in that just made no sense. Characters randomly bumping into each other when they should be miles apart or something like that.
Like continuity issues.
I don't care about the continuity issues because I never played the games, so. But I know that is for some people that they care. I guess it creeps into New Vegas territory.
Well, Evely, you played the games, didn't you? Or am I?
Yeah, I played the third one a lot when it first came out. My brother actually worked on it, so it was like a point of pride. You know, he was getting to show off, like, oh yeah, and he was telling us all the insider secrets. And the game, it takes place in the suburbs of DC, and I grew up around there, so it was cool to go to an area and be like, that doesn't look like that. That's not where that is on the map.
I heard the third one looked like the Pacific Northwest, but
it was very, very green and kind of bluish. I liked it, but I didn't get. Whenever I play games, I'm not necessarily there to really deep dive into the lore. I know that some people in our circles are really picking things apart, like, oh, these people, this was their motive and this and that, and they know all this stuff, and I don't. I haven't watched the show, and a part of me is like, maybe I should check it out because I don't have the attachment that a lot of other people do, but I did enjoy the game, and I thought aspects of it were cool, but I just don't remember it well enough for that. If the story doesn't jive with the games, for that to really impact my enjoyment of it. And as we know, I don't like much, so I'm sure it's going to go swimmingly.
So, I mean, two characters, Lucy and the Ghoul, were great characters. And
who's
compared to any show,
he was the perfect choice for that.
He was fantastic. I mean, Lucy was great cast as well. My main problem, besides the ending and how it was just blatantly communist propaganda at the end, and the terrible fight scene at the end. But my main gripe throughout the entire thing was the Brotherhood of Steel storyline.
Anticlimactic, limp dick final fight is really disappointing in any medium.
Yeah, but no, the Brotherhood of Steel storyline, that ain't it. That ain't it. For what they were setting up of people that are trained as hard as they were, and all those kind of details with the main character Maximus, it didn't make sense. Were they trying
to like tie it to Christianity somehow, or is that part of it?
Well, I think it was inspired by Christianity, which I don't care. But I don't know. It just felt like the characters that were leading the Brotherhood of Steel weren't acting right, of how they were kind of telling you how they should be acting. Does that make sense?
They're characterized wrong in the show.
Right. So, like, it felt like Maximus was kind of a screw up, yet they kept on giving him stuff. Every time he messed up, he was almost like rewarded for it. Now I'll say this, Maximus, I did like I kind of like the character, just not the story that he was on. It was like you took that character and position in the story, I would have preferred it much better. Besides that, I mean, there's the elephant in the room with the they them, which they literally, were using pronouns in the show, which was completely taking out of it.
I have a weird perspective on this one. So in this future hellscape of a planet, of a world that Fallout is supposed to kind of take place in, very colorful, with all these mutants running around, the idea of someone not quite having going by a gender norm is not that far out there, but but using pronouns in this world is absolutely like lore breaking a little bit.
I mean, it's really cool.
Like, if your survival is your main focus, you're not worried about what people call you.
I mean, what's really awesome is we got a special guest. I just got to get him real quick. So you guys just talk, and I'll get the special guest. Special for all.
Oh, I love special guests.
So
it's going to be. He has a lot of connections to very famous and very well known people. So I'm excited to see who shows up here. Oh, okay.
Hello, I am Titus from the Brotherhood of Steel.
Hey, awesome you make the time.
To spread the message of inclusivity throughout the wasteland. We've been working diligently to make sure we can get people's testosterone.
Whoa. People are animals. We don't want you in our bunkers. Stay out of our bunkers. We'll build a wall.
Listen, everyone's pronouns will be used. I need everyone's pronouns announced, all right?
You're a real stupid person, aren't you?
No, you guys would not make it in the Brotherhood of Steel. I'm getting out of here.
Shouldn't it be personhood of steel? I'm feeling like there's a
the Brotherhood
here, right?
doesn't seem very gender.
It's not very inclusive. It needs to be the personhood. Oh, geez. That was just you? I thought he was really here.
What?
Gee willikers.
Now I'm real confused.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Also, Evely, I like that in the intro, Battsauce was kind enough to add you.
Yeah,
I'm glad that you're Elizabeth now.
Oh, yes.
You had to go somewhere.
Emily's a lady's name. It's poor choice on my part, but fitting for the theme of the show in this early conversation. Fits right in.
It's just
there.
like a normal Evely with tits.
All right. All right. So I had a topic we wanted to talk about: novellas versus novels. How do we feel about that? Because it
regards
feels
to
like the advice,
writing, or
brothelhood,
kind of all of that encompassed into one, right? So because a lot of the advice that goes out to indies is write a novella, write a bunch, so you can build up your like resume of books, but also so
you can pump out books faster. There's
that, and then people say that like so the customer tend to like, especially if you're a nobody author, they want to just get a quick read. So I mean, is there
the idea
truth behind that?
What they're selling is like it's a taste test, so they can spend less money, get a sample of your writing, and decide whether they like your writing style or not. The problem is when you go from shorter form to longer form, most people's writing changes whether they want it to or not. Because to fill out that kind of upper page count, even like to try to write a pulp style novel that's like full length or epic fantasy length is untenable. The style is meant to be short and punchy, and so to write 300,000 words of that would not only be exhausting to read, would be exhausting to write.
Yeah, I don't typically like novellas, and I got to take into account that I'm not the average person, but so me, I don't like to read a novella unless it's a novella to a series that I've read a few books of. And, Stormlight's a good example of that. I like reading the novellas in Stormlight.
But otherwise, it's already attached to the world that you love already, correct?
Yeah. So it's a little short story in the world. Whereas it's like reading a novella right off the bat, I'm like, that's not enough for me to get in. I need more to get in. I don't get invested necessarily right off the bat with stories.
I'm the opposite. I like the short story.
You and I have talked about this. You like the shorter stories.
Yeah, man.
of the time it takes, right?
Yeah, that's a big part of it too. And if the stories are short, I can read more of them and get around to more authors and check more of out of what all's out there, and having my samples, as you put it, like the Costco of authors, just having samples here and samples there, trying this, trying that.
I just picture you like the girl in that meme, except with, instead of dudes, it's all these like little short like novella books. Anyway.
I don't have a witty retort for that. I picture away, my friend. Yeah, I like the novellas, and I look at the longer books, because I don't know, is like, at what page count or word count does it go from a novella to a novel? And at some point, there's got to be a third level here.
Anything
Under-
over
so
I feel like
40,000
there's a
words is no
page
longer a
spectrum.
novella.
After
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
many?
A novella is usually between 20,000 and 40,000 words.
That's double the length. We need more. We need more increments in there to gauge. Like, is your book? What
you get to
grade
100.
level is it? Is it? Are we? That's where I need to be at.
110 is epic fantasy.
Or hour long. Like, what's the length of reading time? That sort of thing. I don't know. Because to me, it's just to make it fit in there.
Again, it's like, I don't want to give like advice to, when I'm the outlier, right? But it's just like, again, a longer novel, it tends to be not that much more expensive than a novella. So I
True.
kind
Yeah,
of would
the
prefer-
price doesn't pencil out very well for novellas. But maybe that's the point. Like, oh, I'm making about the same amount of money on not selling a novel as I do on a novella. So if I just have a bunch of novellas, I can sell more. But like I think it depends. It just depends on how they write and where their strengths lie. Like The Black Crown by John A. Douglas would not work
currently reading. Yeah.
as a novella. This is a thick bowl.
But would it work as several novellas? And then you're actually maximizing something. No.
No, because then the story structure is all messed up. Because then you basically have to create a mini story, a condensed story structure for each book.
All right.
Which, if you read Stormlight, each of those monster books each part of it, part 1 through 5, is broken down like a book. So it can kind of be done, but it's just, it would feel like you're getting a third of a piece of pie instead of a piece of pie.
I feel like this conversation kind of perfectly encapsulates. You need both sides of it, really, because there's people like me out there that I'm like, I want something short. I just want to bite of something. I want to listen to a song that's 2 minutes and 40 seconds. We get in, we do our thing, we get out. And then there's some people that prefer like a symphony that is 30 minutes long and takes you on a journey, and you can really sit down and really go places. And there's a time and a place for that. I have The Black Crown, but I look at it some days and I'm just like, I'm gonna have to read that at some point. And it's gonna take me a long time.
Honestly, having a book, if you have a big book, having it available audibly, like through it as an audible kind of experience or an audiobook, makes a huge difference in readability, because I'm on the road a lot. That's how I read a lot of my bigger books. But in the chat,
quick.
Herman brings up a good point. A lot
I
of
was just about to say hail the chat.
Oh yeah. Rapid release authors write short books, is what Herman says, and that's I would agree with that. And also, Anthony Rodonelli, welcome to the stream. Many Italians.
Welcome.
Hey, Battsauce.
Hey.
Hey. Babidi-boopy. Hey.
Part of the familia. Hey.
Hey.
Pizzeria.
Keep it about the boom.
Oh, hey.
I'm
Yeah,
the only
my
one with the
freaking-
real Italian physique, though. I feel like this is not. I look like I live off of noodle. Anyway.
and pasta. Hey, you ever tried topping your carbs with carbs?
Have you ever
Yes,
put
Grandma,
pasta
I
into
have.
a sandwich?
Thank
I
you.
have. No.
Yeah. No, I don't know what it is when I host the stream, like my freaking comments don't work. I can't like
I
post on
know.
there.
And then when I host it, you are me.
Yeah, that was funny though. That was good stuff.
I figured that out, dude. I was working through this like before the show, and I couldn't get out of your like mode. I can.
Oh, you
I
were
had
on
the
my
able
account.
to create streams. Yeah.
Son of a.
It said it was my account. I don't know. I was so it was
that's
a
so good. Something
annoying.
went whack. Yeah.
yeah, but so I guess so to each their own, right? I guess maybe I don't know. I've heard more people take the novella stance. So if there's more people that are like me, then it's kind of like, hey, don't listen to one person saying like this is the way. It's
I see the temptation as both a reader and an author for the novella side. I think if the story is meant don't make a story that should be shorter. Do not force it to be longer. That never works out. It always makes a story bad. So it like but also don't shorten a story that you really need the time to tell properly, just to try to meet a word count in a certain kind of a goal there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Whenever an author sits down, do they say, I'm going to write a book that thick? Or do they just sit down like, I'm going to write a story? And if it's this thick, or it's that thick, or this thick, or that thick, so be it. I'm just writing a story.
Ladies,
so I kind of did that.
You decide. No.
I kind of did that
write
for
a big book?
Well, for my sci-fi, because I was like, I want to write epic fantasy. Which I don't know why I wanted to do that for my first book. It was just, I don't think I really thought I was going to finish in under a year. But so mine ended up being 130,000 words. So I
very respectable. Good amount of word count.
How many pages is that? I'm new to this scene.
Well, it depends on the font and stuff. So
yeah,
I know, but like ballpark, are we talking like 600 pages? How long is your book specifically? I guess is what I'm getting at. To me, like, oh, okay, that's reasonable. That's reasonable.
600, yeah.
Yeah, once we get past 4s, I'm starting to be like, ooh, that's a lot of words. It's a lot of paper.
Spicy up in here.
Now my fantasy, because it's a comedy, and I kind of
really
this. Yeah, so a comedy fantasy, whereas in the first one is a grimdark sci-fi, so very opposite.
All right.
But the fantasy story being a comedy, I kind of feel like you tend to need to make those a little bit shorter to, try to hit those jokes.
Well, like if it's gonna be funny, it has to be punchy, and it's very hard to do that long form.
Yeah, so that one's about 60 or 70,000 words or something like that. So that's a short read.
I think you might be the. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you went to the opposite direction as MD Boncher, another author friend of mine. He has the epic dark kind of fantasy, long form fantasy, and then the short and quick paced comedy sci-fi. So like just the inverse of what you have. It's an interesting to see both.
Okay, so there's a couple comedy writers. To me, I'm like, comedy's my thing. Like I'm most interested in that. I'm new to reading fiction. I've read, I read it back in school and stuff, but nonfiction, I read plenty of that. But fiction, just reading for fun, like I'm going to sit down and stare at a book for fun. Oh, that's something that's new to me. So if I can sit down and have a laugh, that's appealing. So what is the what's your funny book? Where's the link? Where can I get it?
Oh, it's not available yet. I am prepping.
Right. He's working on it, and it's like a good joke. You have to wait for it. No.
Yeah. No, the problem is I had a kid, and then that kind of put things.
The problem.
You're a problem. Oh, careful! Your wife was in earlier.
Yeah. No, it was finished before he came along, but then after that, there's a bunch of work that happens after you write the book.
God, you and your wife, you finished two really big projects right around the same time.
Yes, I did most of that work on that one project.
Hail Immortal Rising. Thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, Hail.
Hey, how's it going?
I need to get like a little clip for when people join Ahoy or something like that. I got for when people want to leave.
This raises a question I have for y'all while we're talking about that real quick. Yeah. So, this is the Iron Seas, as it were, right?
The Iron Seas.
So, you got people... Seaman. Okay, we're on the same page here. So what do you call yourselves or your fans? There's a branding opportunity.
They're seamen.
They're just seamen?
They're all seamen.
That's it? Not like ocean lads?
No. They can upgrade. So
sea boys?
We got a gilded that's not like public yet. Oh. We're gonna get that set up. So there's gonna be tiers. You can upgrade. You can be seaman. You can be seaman first class, lance seaman,
high sea besties.
Did you say lance seaman?
Lance corporals are ranking.
Oh Lord!
What about you go
seaman first class?
You got sea boys. You already got your island boys. You guys could be the next thing. You be the sea boys. We could do our one show.
More creative that. Yeah. I was thinking. I don't know. It's like you don't want to like come up with too many ideas for one thing and too many names. But I was like, oh man, you know what that slug that has like an iron shell?
Oh yeah,
you know that.
Yeah, love that thing.
It's called a scallyfoot, and I'm like, bro, that's an awesome.
I never actually knew what it was called.
Scallyfoot. You could have like 50 different rings and have them separated by like 20 cents a piece.
Yeah.
Or it's all the same, and you just get to pick one you like, see what the winner is. Oh, speaking of, that's what I was going to say earlier. Whenever you're talking about the novel versus novella, somebody did a poll recently. I saw on the internet on the X on the Twitter.
Oh,
I
On
forget
Twix.
how many a poll there was. I saw it with my eyes on my phone, and I forget how many people voted on it. But whenever, I guess so. I'm pretty excited about it, so I guess I do.
Hey guys, I saw a poll on the internet. You
I
wouldn't
saw a
believe
poll on the internet, boys. That's it. Carry on. It was a great poll. I forgot how people were in it, but it was a fair amount. I want to say it was like 50% wanted novella, and then I don't remember all the options. I think 20% was novel, and then another 20% was like super thick novel, or whatever you call that.
Thick
I
with
think
two Cs.
I win polls the most. Anytime there's a poll, I am on top of the poll.
Your fake news. There was a 4 a.m. ballot dump.
Every time we talk
He's full
about
of
polls.
it. You wouldn't believe him. I saw your son using his poll on the internet. I don't want to hear you speak.
It sounds like there's auto tune on it too, which is extra.
Any poll
extra
that has been
special.
taken is absolutely fake news. Can't trust it.
So
He's an
true.
imposter. I'm the real one.
Oh, anyway.
all right.
Next
Next topic, boys.
Wait,
I think
wait. I do have a final thought on this one.
okay.
Evely likes him short. Battsauce likes him long. Every man is Jesus, dude. I need to focus. Anyway,
every
I
man
enjoy
what,
both
Kahuna?
short and long form fiction. If the author is really talented at a really talented author can tell a very compelling, emotionally grounded story in a very short amount of time, like a very small page count. Like think of all the old fiction writers who started off like short form fiction. Think of the Robert E. Howards and the Lovecraft, and even some of the old like Western, like Louis L'Amour. Before he was writing full length books, he would do short stories for short form Western stories. And then a few of the great romance authors were like that as well. They had short romance stories. If you know your craft, if you know how to tell a compelling story in very few words, very good grammar, very good kind of control of the pacing, you can tell a very good story in a short amount of time. That being said, you shouldn't alter what the story needs to be in order to fit a page count or a word count. Let the story be as long or as short as it needs to be its best.
Yeah, I do see the appeal if you love a world. If you have a short book, you're like, man, it's gonna be over fast, and then I gotta wait however long for the next one. Whereas a thick one, you get into it, it's like, all right, I found a good one. I'm gonna be here for a while, so I get the appeal.
Well, it's
I
like
get
if you're
I
a fan of
particularly-
epic fantasy, you want to learn the lore. You don't want to have it an info dump, but you do want to learn about like, oh, why do these desert people fight one another and steal each other's goats and then worship the moon
I
goddess?
thought we
for
said
wood?
lore dump. The better term was lore spreading. I thought that's what we had. Because lore dump just sounds like a
Lore
negative. Lore
Info
spreading.
dump.
Lore
Yeah.
Forges in the comments. Spread the lore.
Spread the lore.
Yo, but with info dumps, I will say a lot of people fear info dumps, and info dumps can be done very well, and
Yes, they can.
sometimes they just need to be done. And when people avoid them, and you're just like, you just explain what's going on, give me a quick little verbiage. Like, you guys ever read Ready Player One?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, yes.
So like the whole first half of the book is an info dump, and
For the most
I
part,
enjoyed
yeah.
it. I like for some reason I enjoyed the like.
Well, that's the rule.
Chapters of info
If
dump.
you're not going to find a creative way to dump the lore and info, make sure it's really interesting lore.
Dump.
Somebody say something about dumping.
Lois, I left a big dump on the on top of the toilet. We call it an upper decker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
More of the
sorry
story,
about
don't
what's
fear
happened
a
to the
good-
show, guys.
Did AC keep us on straight?
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna help. I'm gonna be like off the rails. Speed up.
I think I'm upping it because Evely's here. He and I already are like that a little bit. Like he and I have discussed this. Whenever there's a stream, there needs to be the stern mother figure in the stream, the person who always like wrangles us back into on topic.
Yeah.
I guess that's you.
So-
Battsauce.
Yeah. Is it?
That
Damn
is
it.
you. You're the guy.
Well, let's talk about Warhammer. 40K.
Whoa!
Very topical. Yeah. Very topical. They've just introduced female custodies, and the internet's a little bit in an uproar, but I see a lot more coming from people that like never talk about Warhammer. But as we've mentioned off stage, Kahuna, you're a big fan. I consider myself more of a experienced tourist. That's fair.
Yeah, no, I could see, and yeah, I could see that. There's nothing wrong with that. I'll share my screen here in a second if that's okay.
Nothing wrong with being a tourist, but just don't like, yeah.
Yeah, no, it like I was talking to people about this, and Razorfist made a quote that on Twix that was very topical and made a lot of sense in this regard.
Oh, can you not share it? Sorry.
No, there you go. Yep, it's Warhammer didn't finally go woke. They've been this way for years. They're the CD Projekt Red of tabletop gaming, no matter how blindly they. Basically, talking about how everybody like there are some fanboys who are always going to love it no matter what. And for what it's worth, I do enjoy the lore. I have a lot of fond memories. The company and its old stores that are in my area kind of saved me and my brother when we were younger. Parents almost divorced. Like we were there for like 6 to 7 hours a day for a while, like almost every day. Yeah, and it was like a babysitter almost.
So getting hammered.
Yeah, I mean,
they've been going downhill really badly as a company since about 2012 to 14.
Oof.
And that's the truth. Like, this is not a new phenomenon.
I covered in a video a while ago. There was like a tweet that went out like forever ago. I think Razorfist shared it too, about them saying some other woke garbage in a paragraph, and talking about how we're like super inclusive and we don't want supposed racist in our community, whatever. And it was like, even before that was like months ago, and even before that there were signs, which is kind of like, I don't know, if you're really looking into Warhammer, you know it's been falling apart for years. And you mentioned like since they did children's stories, I didn't even know that.
Oh, I can talk about that. So this would have been, this is around the time I got married, or in like the first 2 or 3 years of when I was married. So like 2013 to like 2015 is when I really started noticing the big changes. At first, it was really cool because the Hobbit movies were kind of fresh and coming out around that time, and that brought in a whole like new set of Lord of the Rings models, because Lord of the Rings was one of the 3 games that they sold, and those models were awesome, fantastic. In my opinion, it was also the best play system. But then, like, they started doing some weird things. They ended up resetting the Warhammer Fantasy and rebranding it as the Age of Sigmar. They brought in a couple of new races, but then they got rid of these races in the game that they had for the entirety of their history. Like lizard men gone.
Wait,
and, like,
they got rid of
lizard
men
either like diminished or just gotten rid of altogether. And they started they were writing these children books in the 40K universe. I'm like, I think you're missing the point. I liked Warhammer 40K when I was younger because it did not feel like it was for children. It was for adults. That was one of the entire reasons that I wanted to play it. Like, I as an example, like a while back, I read to a couple of friends of mine like the prologue from the old Warhammer starter deck, like the starter rule book. It's like, in a galaxy that like the Tyranid swarm is set to consume all living organic material in the universe. Chaos abounds all over, raining their destruction all across the universe. Even and then mankind, the only bastion of light in the universe, the Imperium of mankind, sacrifices 1,000 psychic potential people a day to keep alive a living corpse that they worship as a god. And like I'm paraphrasing, but that's what it talks about.
Like,
mankind. This is not a universe for children.
No,
you're really
that's
when I felt like they started getting out of touch with their audience, and it's just gotten worse and worse and worse.
Kids are just reading the stories and just sobbing the entire time.
I mean, so I told you that my roommate is like pretty much feels exactly the same. I think he's mentioned the same thing about how it saved him when he's younger, and he's obsessed with Warhammer. And he's the person. It's like if it doesn't contain super soldiers, he wants nothing to do with that universe. Captain America has the Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier, his favorite. But so Yeah, I mean, he tried for years to convince me to get into the 40K universe, and eventually it worked. And the universe is awesome. Every single race in there's really cool, except for maybe
The history is like, and the books were written by really talented sci-fi authors too, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And they were very, very good.
Yeah, so like a lot of care went into the overall world. And it's interesting because it's like, so now it's always going to be compared to the death of like Star Wars universe, because like the Star Wars universe is pretty much dead, right? But what is it? Jesus.
See, Bats, to answer your question, you don't make it for kids without neutering it. That's the whole point.
Right. But yeah, so the Star Wars universe is pretty much dead. Can the same thing happen to the Warhammer universe? Can it go like woke enough or whatever to destroy that? Because it almost feels like the Warhammer universe is bigger right now than the Star Wars universe at some point, in a weird way, not like in a direct way. But
it's more niche than Star Wars. It doesn't have quite the same name recognition and worldwide kind of benevolent love that Star Wars once had. And so, like, big time fan, like, some people are always going to be happy with it, but then you look at some of their games, like Vermintide 2, not a bad game. Then they made Dark Tide, and they just
what a missed opportunity. What a missed opportunity.
They had a cool idea, and then they didn't do anything to fix the game or make it fun going forward. Like the opposite of what Arrowhead is doing with Helldivers. Like pretty much the opposite approach. Just like, oh, here's the game. If you want like all these cosmetic stuff, it's going to cost a lot of IRL money, and we're not going to fix any of the bugs or make it any better as it goes on. This is it. Good luck.
Well, that's because like the people that control the IP, like they're bad.
Citadel.
Are they Disney bad? It's like I feel like they're worse than Disney, but they just don't have the same power that Disney has.
I think you are pretty
Games
much
Workshop.
on the money there. They stole a lot of storylines for both the books and the lore and the models. They're the worst kind of thief of all. They didn't just steal from one; they stole from everybody. And they did so egregiously that it was like
anybody tries to make free content for them, and they'll take it down. Because like one of the biggest things that grabbed a lot of people, especially me, the Astartes videos on YouTube. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. No, all the lore people, all these people on YouTube who are making content based off of the 40K universe, the miniatures, releases, the history, the lore, the whole thing. There was so much good content there because like me, they grew up with it, or they found it as adults and fell in love with it then. And then and then Games Workshop Citadel comes in. It's like, this is based on our content. We deserve the money from all of this content, so we're gonna demonetize you.
D&D did the same thing.
It was really, really shitty. Evely, have you ever had that hat? Like, have you ever seen that kind of thing in your own spheres of the world, like in music, perhaps, or like maybe someone made videos or such about music, and then the label companies come in and just bone people?
Nothing comes to mind immediately off the top of my head. Maybe if I can mull it over, something will pop up. Question I have though, because again, this is another thing. I would think it was my brother-in-law I played. I want to say it was BattleTech with. Is BattleTech at all, or is it like 40K in any way, shape, or form? I totally, because I don't know this stuff.
There's a lot of overlap. 40K even started stealing from BattleTech.
40K is stolen for everything. Hey, let me pre-emphasize, because I never really said exactly what the drama was with 40K. Like I barely glanced on it. So the Astartes, essentially the God Emperor's like personal like guards. They're like kind of super Space Marines. They're
like Space Marines, but better trained. Well, they mostly have better equipment, is honestly
right.
It.
And they've never been females in the lore.
Serve the Emperor, like the speakers of the voices of the Emperor only, not any single house of the Astartes.
They've never had females in their ranks for like ever. It's never been mentioned in the countless books and everything like that. And there's always been kind of this line in the 40K thing of like no female Space Marines. Now this technically isn't female Space Marines, but it's damn near close. And one of the things is like people push back with. They're always like, well, why can't you? It's a fake world. It's like, dude, because that's just how the world is. And why do you care so much? And then also, again, there's other factions. There's the Sisters of Battle and there's the Sisters of Silence in the lore, and nobody's talking about getting a guy in there. Just like it's just one of those things where it's like, man, if you talked about doing this 20 years ago, like yeah, this probably wouldn't be a problem. But now it's you know why they're pushing it. They're pushing it for an agenda for
it's
ESG
like when they would
scores.
race swap characters back in the day. They usually did it because they found a good actor or had a good dynamic that they thought it wasn't with with a political agenda. That's the difference.
Yeah, nobody
it was done in
questioned
good
it.
faith.
Yep.
And
yeah, the other part with the drama though is that they've been blocking anyone being like, so is this a retcon of the lore? Which 100% is a retcon of the lore, and people comment that and they're blocked from the main Warhammer Twitter.
Catalyst Games and BattleTech, they've been doing stuff like that too. Any dissent, immediate like demonetization, blocking, kicking, whatever they want.
Isn't there a word for that they like to bandy about all the time? Wielding your power to silence people that disagree with you.
Tyrants.
Is that the word? There's a word they say all the time, and they accuse the other side of it. But it seems like I don't know.
Fascist. Yeah,
I think that's it.
Yeah, and these are like actual people that subscribe to the Warhammer Plus content, which you probably never heard of that before. It's like a $15 subscription, then you get like terrible TV shows.
Why?
It's
like
did you know that existed?
All the YouTubers who used to boost your content, boost your product, and now
the guy who made Astartes, has he made anything since? Like, it's been years, and he hasn't made anything. It's like they probably just paid him to silence him.
The monetary incentive was taken away, and only that, the thing that they loved and were talking about is now sour in their mind and in their mouth because of how poorly they were treated. It happened with a lot of like BattleTech 2 and Catalyst Games. They did that with Blaine Pardoe and a whole bunch of their other and even independent creators who talk about their stuff. Occasionally they get slapped down too. And the weird thing about the female Custodes argument, there is a female power armor wearing faction in the game and in the lore, and it's one of the most popular factions in the game and in the lore. Sisters of Battle.
Yeah, it's not good enough.
Long, in-depth history about their love of the Emperor and how their devotion and faith gives them strength and psychic shielding from the forces of chaos that make them a very valuable asset in battle. Not as tough or durable as the Space Marines, but with similar equipment and with psychic abilities to boot. They're a tremendous asset and some of the best looking models they've made for the game, period. And people are acting like they don't even exist.
Silence! They will all be women. We are all getting gender reassignment surgery. All of us. We won't stop until every single Space Marine has a gender reassignment surgery.
Well, this is the reason I was asking about BattleTech too, because I don't understand. Like in the world, are they both Coke? Is one Coke? Is one Pepsi? Is it the kind of thing like, I don't like what they're doing, so I'm going to go to these guys? Or is it like there's nowhere to run? You're kind of stuck with it if they block you and you're like, I'm done.
BattleTech is more
technically
focused.
Specifically,
the lore is just as deep and widespread, but what it all contains is very like think about in Marvel and DC comics you have aliens and supernatural and demons and portals and time travel and speedsters and all of anything that could exist does exist in that universe. That's kind of like Warhammer 40K. In BattleTech, it's a little bit more narrowed in its focus.
So the point I'm trying to make is if you're like, I'm done with this thing, I don't like how they're treating us, you don't really have a place to run to. It's sort of like, this is
I
good.
have
I just
some
gotta ride
advice
it out.
for those people. Run to the Iron Seas.
Erg.
No, I mean, hey, look, there's indie people that are trying to build universes as big.
Well,
it's kind of a hard task.
He has 9 or so books in his Land and Sea novel series that he started a year or two ago. He already has 9 books. Man's an animal. But anyway.
Yeah. And the other thing I'll mention, because the channel Major Kill, he's the biggest Warhammer YouTube channel. Yeah. So I mean, he makes great content, but like he made a video. It was like, oh, it doesn't really bother me, and it's like, well, yeah, of
Did
course
he
it doesn't
have
really
did he have
bother
a
me.
pew pew to his head, like off screen?
Well, no,
She-
it's
Agreed. It doesn't
look,
really
all these
bother me.
YouTubers, they can't be that bothered by this because if they start telling people to ditch the Warhammer universe, that's it. Their channel is completely reliant on it. And that's what sucks when you make a channel and it's completely reliant on a fam or a universe or something like that.
Yeah, like one property. You're kind of stuck. Yeah.
Like Star Wars people, like fuck.
Well, like
What content you making?
I have
Yeah,
something
really.
to say too. Not that anyone would. Anyone working at Citadel or Warhammer, I fell in love with your products and what you guys had going way back in the day. I saw you drive off and mistreat your best employees. I saw you close down stores because you wanted to stop. You didn't want to be part of the mall crowd. You wanted to become more upscale, which didn't work out because you lowered salaries of your best employees and basically said you can't have any help. You have to run a store by yourself now. And
Kahuna, you're
You
too
know-
quiet.
fuck y'all. Fuck you.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah, Kahuna.
it's so.
Your
Like,
game
yeah,
needs to go up.
one of the got a manager of one of those stores. He's a 6'8" ex-pro football player dude. Ended up teaching me boxing years later. But yeah, no, they basically like cut his salary by just shy of a third.
Woof.
After telling him he can't have any employees to help him with the workload and
Double
taking away
woof.
like a bunch of his benefits.
Triple woof.
And
Yeah.
he had upped his sales by like 150% in 2 years.
Wow.
I'm like,
Yeah.
you clowns, what are you doing?
It's like, with the those channels or whatever that rely on these IPs. Like I watch some Berserk channels, and it's like, well, they only make content now really when a chapter comes out once every 6 months, and
Yeah,
that gets some
tough.
views. But besides that, in between, it's like they're struggling to try to diversify the channel. It's like,
Well,
Their
that's the
YouTube's
problem with
not
having
really
such a
built on.
narrow focus with your channel.
yeah.
That's why you have to have a great personality like me
Ooh.
and do a variety of content.
Well, it's sad. I mean, it's off topic now, but like they make good videos, and they make good videos on the other content. It's just like, well, I don't really care about Claymore, and it's just like there's an audience out there, but you're not being pushed though.
Yeah,
But-
no, it's interesting.
All right,
So were
You have
were
one
you
last
able to
point?
were you able to rewatch Treasure Planet, either of you, before this stream, or no?
yeah, I watched Treasure Planet. Yeah, we'll talk about
I didn't watch it, but I watched a couple like recap videos to try and jog my memory. I actually saw it for the first time like 8 months ago, I think. So it wasn't too long ago. I forgot bits and pieces of it. Even watching the recaps, it's still not all fresh in my mind. But I can probably contribute more than I than on the Warhammer stuff, at least.
Oh no, I feel it. Yeah, it's another case of a company doing the customers and the product dirty. And how Disney
They got
treated it.
screwed.
Yeah, they said it
they
was,
got
screwed them.
boned so bad.
they lost like $75 million on that movie or something.
Disney was trying to kill that film. though.
Yeah, they put it, like, on a month
such a
in time.
passion project.
Oh yeah, it was all these
Yeah.
other big movies that were coming out at the same window, and then they were, what was the other thing? They said in the video I watched, they said they were trying to get it made since the 80s or something. Like kept being like, this is gonna be big, this is gonna be big,
Well,
this is
yeah,
gonna be big, and they kept tabling it.
This team, they directed a whole bunch of the Disney Renaissance films, and finally, they had another movie that they made enough money. They're like, fine, you can finally have your movie, whatever. At least that's what I
And
imagine
they're
the
like
executives saying it.
Yeah, what did it get released in February? I think like January, February. January is like when movies like go where they go to die.
Yeah, it was released right like on basically within a day or two of a really big blockbuster, like big time movie as well that I can't remember.
Yeah.
But man,
Yeah.
sorry.
I was just gonna say maybe you can translate. What is Ben? All caps Ben Ali.
I
Like
know.
I'm
I was looking at that too.
Oh, okay, you too. I'm like another thing I don't know.
Does that have something to do with Ben Solo? I don't know.
She doesn't look
I
like
don't
that.
know,
I'm,
idea.
I'm so confused.
No.
Tell your wife I'm confused. Sure, she'll hear it, but
Wife, what are you
Sorry.
doing? And she, talk about her. She keeps saying that your mic is too low.
His memory is faulty.
You gotta turn the gain up, man.
is this better?
Yeah.
Oh, much better.
Oh,
Right into
yeah.
my
yeah.
ears.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from our end, but
I
Yeah,
hear
oh, I
myself
see.
in my ear too, and I'm loud as crap. crap in here, so it's always hard to tell.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I
But-
see that.
See if
What
I can
like
listen up.
that? This is one good example of how to do a really good adaptation of another work. You can either try to adapt it faithfully, or you could keep the spirit of the thing and reimagine it in a way that's truly imaginative. Like this is just a reimagining of Treasure Island and that a tale as old as time kind of story. And I thought they nailed it with this movie. They had a couple of missteps, but I think as a whole, the product speaks for itself. It won the poll of what movie we should watch by a really substantial margin, followed by like Sinbad and Master and Commander. Only 1 or 2 votes for Captain Blood.
People love it, man. It came out, by the way, to tag back into that. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets and the Santa Claus 2 released at the same time. So
that's right. Yeah,
that's tough ether sailing.
Yeah. So my thoughts just dropped when I went.
No. Take your time. It's okay.
Yeah, let's not sit in
silence.
No, I haven't seen Treasure Island, and I kind of like. I'm like kind of want to wish I
haven't seen it either. Yeah.
The book is good too, but yeah, no.
Without knowing anything about Treasure Island, it's like the movie is essentially like perfect.
Yeah, no. Watch the 1950s Disney version of Treasure Island. The movie's it's old, but it's really, really solid. I enjoy it for what it is. The acting is good, and even the kid, even though he's a little too like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, like kids are in all those older movies, like very much like Charlie from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory kind of thing.
In Treasure Island?
Yeah, Treasure Island. The OG Treasure Island.
Not so much in Treasure Planet.
No. They give the kid a bit more character. And like Jim Hawkins, they give him a lot more character in that movie. And it's a really cool story. They even talked about like behind the scenes, like they had a ratio. It's like for every 7, like it'll be 70% like old timey pirates, like 1700s kind of technology, 30% sci-fi. And they try to approach every sound, every visual, every prop, every set. They try to approach everything with that kind of ratio. And that attention to detail really, really shows. And they use technology they created for Tarzan as well, for like those scenes where 2D people are running through a 3D set. Basically a long tracking shot.
Are you guys a fan of that? Whenever they do the 2D 3D crossover?
When they do it well, when it's good, I like Evely. I don't hate any kind of animation except when it's bad.
Okay, like the scene whenever he's doing it on the little skyboard and he's spinning around, and the camera's doing all this stuff. I like 2D. I like when things are either fully 2D or fully 3D. So there's some scenes in that I don't know. Maybe it was the refresh rate on the TV even being too high nowadays. You get that soap opera effect, and it just looked kind of off to me.
Especially back in the time. Well, maybe because you saw it more recently. Like we saw this like 20 years ago, and it's like, well, we didn't notice a single thing about Batman.
That's a good point. Yeah, I'm fresh to a lot of these movies too. So
like this is crazy technology for back then.
That's true.
Yeah. Like the technology was created for Tarzan for some of those tracking shots, but they used it over in this as well. Yeah.
Yeah, also, it was like one shot of Tarzan.
Like Evely, a lot of those old 2D films had 3D assets, and you just didn't notice. Like in the Prince of Egypt DreamWorks movie,
I haven't seen that.
The chest decorations.
I haven't. I just haven't watched it yet.
Bro, it is the best animated film ever made.
I know. I bought it off my buddy. He's like, "You need to watch this," and that was last March, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
I will drive there and slap you. You need to watch that movie.
I'm working on it, man. It's hard to find time for movies.
Battsauce, your wife said it perfect. Bruh, you got it.
That's what everybody tells me. Everybody tells me. I heard it's awesome. I think I'll enjoy it. And we're actually like my group. We're going through Exodus right now, so I'm like, oh, okay. This would be a good time to sit down and watch it.
What I'll say is it's not historically and biblically fully accurate, but it does capture the spirit of the message from that scripture.
And the music is good. So I mean,
no. It is the best soundtrack ever.
Back to Treasure Planet. Sorry, don't stray away from Treasure Planet.
All right, stern mother.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I think every movie that came around that time period had some form of a board, where there was a surfboard, skateboard, or anything like that. This one had like the
The
extra layer of like the solar sail. It's
Yeah,
too
I think
cool,
it's cool.
man.
Yeah,
Opening
no.
up like that.
Such a great idea, dude. It was great.
Yeah, great. Yeah, awesome. And then so really, all right, off the bat, like this, like in finishing the movie over, it's like what it really gave me vibes of is when they say like a mom makes a boy and a dad makes a man. Because like throughout the movie, he's really searching for. Or he's not really searching for a father figure. He just needs a father figure.
Even a rough one that's rough around the edges, like our titular villain, so to say.
Yeah, I mean, well, he basically needed what's it, cyborg, just Silver, I think his name was, right?
Long John Silver. Yeah, that's one of the names that does come from the original story as well. Yeah.
Why was he called that, anyways? Why not Short John?
Because the restaurant.
I knew it. That's what I was thinking.
There's always a reason.
Confirmed. You heard it here first.
Yeah, no, he just needed
he needed
fake
news.
He needed somebody to give him hope, and I think like a big part of that too was like when he got basically gaslit into killing Arrow, and like
believing
he failed.
He did,
yeah, and it's just like he lost hope.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. So I guess let's just talk about in general all the characters, the main characters, and the change that they went through the story. As my wife said it at the end of the movie, the character that went through the most change in the movie was Mr.
Arrow. Gilbert?
The guy who fell off the ship.
Oh. Yeah, he went from living to dead. Yeah, he had the most change.
Yeah.
He started off with a pulse
Cricket.
and he ended without one. Also, yeah, Johnny Tsunami, I did think about that too. It did come out around that time.
Oh, Long John Silver was probably a reference to his height, by the way. These things I gotta know. Like when I get that itch, I gotta know. It's probably a reference to his height. But sorry, go back to the character.
Most likely.
But
yeah.
You're gonna say?
Oh, it's interesting some of the things they did in adapting the story in regards to characters. The boy, they at first for Treasure Planet they aged him up. In the original OG Treasure Island, he's a much younger child, and it's he's a little more like he's clever, and through that cleverness he survives some very dire situations. But he still feels like more of a victim throughout the story. Like he's a victim of circumstance who's just reacting to what's happening. In this particular story, they make him much more proactive. Like Jim Hawkins is very like he doesn't always make the right choice, but he does make choices and he does push the plot forward, which is a nice change of pace. And they made in the original story, Long John Silver is a little bit more a little less like he's a little bit more of a hard ass even than he is in Treasure Planet. He's a bit more jaded, and and at the end of the story he basically gives them the treasure and he tries to escape in a rowboat. Same situation. He's probably not going anywhere for very long. But I love they deepened his character and made him an actually compassionate character, like not just an evil man with regrets about doing evil at the end of his life.
Animation Overload
choice.
Just mentioned a great quote from the movie. You give up a few things chasing a dream.
Yep. That was a great one.
And talking about Silver, I think honestly he went through the most change throughout the story. Is it kind of brought him back to a better person that he once used to be. And if you kind of look at him and Jim, they kind of look very similar with like the black jacket and they the gold earring. They kind of have the same. So I feel like that was
they have a similar vibe. It's like this could be you in 50 years or 30, 40 years if you're not careful, kind of thing. And it's interesting. I do love when two characters kind of help each other come out of a darker place. It's hard to pull that off in a story well, but I think this movie does do it.
Well, it's like Silver was the villain, but he wasn't the villain at the same time. It was such a weird, awesome dynamic.
He was a man with a holistic vision and purpose who lost the holistic aspect and lost his part of his humanity in the pursuit of that. Like he had a dream that he was pursuing, and ironically basically the same dream as Jim, in finding the lost treasure planet essentially, and like because he was further down the road and he had spent more of his life and given up more. Like your wife quoted there, you give up a few things chasing a dream. He gave up a lot of things, as it turns out.
Yeah.
And I do love how they are able to kind of... Also, the robot version of Ben, the Ben character. He is a character from Treasure Island as well, but in the Treasure Island, he's just a kooky guy who's been stuck on that island for who knows how long. I think it worked better in Treasure Island. I do not... The robot was pretty... It was a very Jar Jar Binks-like character in this movie.
Yeah, a lot of people liked him though. I'm kind of on the same boat as you on that one.
He was a little too much.
Well, that's Martin Short in general and everything he's in where he's trying to be silly, right? He always comes on a little bit thick. Which,
just like that.
Just like that. That's exactly right.
Also, so then Rexillion. That's a great name. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Oh, welcome.
Bioelectronic Navigator. Hi. Ben.
Yeah. And then so what's his name? Dilbert?
Go Gilbert. Go Gilbert.
Gilbert?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dog guy who falls in love with the cat girl.
Oh, yes.
Hell yeah.
It was
real
he's like, I'm into anime too.
Not Kelsey Grammer. What's that guy's name? He was the Kelsey Grammer sidekick in Frasier, though.
Oh, that's right.
The voice
I thought that voice sounded familiar.
Yeah. He plays himself. It's the same character he played. Was it Niles?
Some people are basically just play themselves no matter what. What's going on.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed his transition throughout the movie. Going from a smart guy, geeky. I mean, he was willing to, like, he was eager to go on the adventure. Even he was a
good man who had never had that, who was never tested in a physical, confrontational kind of way.
Yeah,
and it was interesting when he finally was kind of like, as he started to get tested that way, he actually proved his mettle and was able to prove that. Like, just because I haven't gone through this before doesn't mean I can't show my true colors throughout the course of this adventure and like really show what my spine is made of, so to say.
Would you shut up and let me drive the ship? Whatever he said.
Also, I'm a little confused about how space works. It's one of those movies where I'm like, it's so good, I don't think about it that much, but I did a little bit. I'm like, I don't really understand how that works. Oh, it was fun though. It was fun.
Oh man, yeah. No,
another good example of like sci-fi and fantasy being blended in a really good, creative way. Actually, there were a lot of Disney movies around that time that did that well, like Atlantis. It blended sci-fi and fantasy really well.
Well, actually, I had trouble remembering which movie was which for my entire life growing up because I didn't see either one. So in my head, it's like I even had the little pink toy thing. I swear it was the one from Treasure Planet, but there's no way it could be because that movie came out in 2002.
Morph. Yeah.
Was it Morph? Was that in Atlantis? Yeah.
Morph. Yeah. He's
Morph is Treasure Planet.
Okay.
Atlantis. I don't think there's a pink thing in Atlantis. But anyways,
how did I have that toy then? It was from a Happy Meal. I would have been far too old to get one. Where did I get that?
Maybe you just had a drunk night and gotten it as an adult.
Well, which one came out first, I guess, was it? Because a lot of people in the videos I was watching too, a lot of people associate those two. To your point about movies of a similar flavor coming around that time.
It came out around the same time. I'm looking it up.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up too.
Then when Mr. Arrow died, I really appreciated the fact that the captain, obviously wanting to cry or something like that, just kept strong and said, fair winds, following seas, whatever. And just, it was an emotional scene without like overtly showing emotion. Where you get today, it's like you have to show them crying. It's like, no, you don't need to cry every time. But
it's hard to show emotion without feeling over dramatic in a story, especially a visual story, because you have the music, you have the visuals, and it's hard to play that right. You have to really be connected to the characters and it has to be earned. A lot of drama isn't earned in stories. That's why shows that are nothing but drama I despise.
Yeah, me too. With you on that.
Like my ex, not the reason we divorced, but I definitely thought about it later. She always liked all
Treasure
those shows
Planet
like
goes to X.
desperate housewives, like those kind of shows. I'm like,
Yeah.
she got mad at me one day. I was like, this is an adult. This is a children's TV show for adults. She's like, what do you mean? What does that even mean? I'm like, they have a dead girl tell you at the beginning of each episode what's going to happen this episode and what we're going to learn. And then that same dead girl comes to recap what we just learned this episode at the end of every episode. I'm like, this is a children's story for adults. And also it's bad, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. And that brings up the point where I can't stand, I don't like it when people are like, something needs to be specified to children or something like that, like catered to children. It's like, no, Treasure Planet's not catered to children. Like, maybe catered's not the right word.
It's all ages. It's not a children's movie. It's an all ages movie. Right. Which Royce has talked about this a little bit too, and he brought up a good point, and that is that an all ages movie can be enjoyed at any age, but it's also appropriate for any age.
Right.
Which means that maybe the story won't contain some more realistic, harsher elements, or at least not explicitly.
Those standards have changed a little bit too, at least since I was a kid. You know, we grew up with like Never Ending Story and The Dark Crystal, and these are kids' movies, but man, the Gomorrah.
You guys grew up with Watership Down.
Yeah, man.
Holy crap.
Well, some of this stuff is like harsher than nowadays than you think. I don't know. It's because I feel like kids are kind of now watching what's the game where everybody gets killed, the Korean one.
Korean? Oh, they're watching that.
Yeah.
Squid Game?
Yeah, I know Squid Game. A lot of kids are watching it. A lot of parents are letting their kids watch it.
Yeah,
which is insane.
Yeah.
Why? What's even worse is people who do not monitor what their kids watch. I'm like, you have to. Like my kids, like when they're not with me, they have their tablets, and they get to watch basically whatever. And then my son said something to another kid at the park the other. I'm like, all right, you're done. Also, where did you hear that? That's no bueno, man. We can't do that.
Yeah, but we had to add stuff in a different way, things that attacked us emotionally. But like my wife said, I think this is the point that I was trying to make, is that you don't need to talk down to children.
Well, look at like Avatar: The Last Airbender, another good examples of an all ages show. They do not talk down. They talk about everything. They talk about genocide and family love, romantic love, like what it means to be proud of your nation, whether that's a good thing. Like, it tackles a lot of really kind of complicated subjects in a very approachable, like kind of base level way.
Yeah, and that's kind of when you get like, I feel sad for the kids of today, because it's just like I don't typically see a lot of those like kids movies or anything like that has like, I guess, mature themes that, like, kids can still like. It's it's not.
Hold on. I need to give your wife an aneurysm real quick.
Cocomelon.
All right, we're done.
Yeah, something that's not like overtly violent or anything like that, but that still has like adult themes that you would see in like an Avatar or something like that.
Yeah. It's like
you can still show to like a 6-year-old.
Like, did your Evely, you're just a touch older than Battsauce and I, but both of you, what did your parents like restrict in regards to what you guys watched growing up? Do you remember?
For whatever reason, very specifically, The Simpsons, and that was it. I don't know why.
That's it? That's a really weird specific one.
I think South Park too. I think like that. Like, I don't think they cared enough to try to restrict stuff. They just knew that there was an adult animated thing. They were like, as in Simpsons, and they're like, "Don't watch that. You're not allowed to watch that." No, but there was other adult animation stuff that was, worse.
They just probably didn't know. That's the thing.
Oh,
they
yeah,
didn't have the reputation, maybe.
I think it was a point in time we didn't have like HBO and that sort of thing. So if it was on TV, it wasn't going to show that much, whether it's gore or sex or language or any of that stuff. So I think they were like, whatever's on there is probably fine. And I actually miss those TV edited movies, man. Like, you watching Platoon and everybody's a maggot farmer or
maggot.
Weird Science. He got kicked in the guts and she called him a bragger.
I
good
didn't grow
stuff.
up with TV, so I never saw most of those TV edited, except for like a couple times I'd go to like my cousin's house or my grandma and grandpa's house. I'm like, this is not what the scene is different in this version. Why? Why is it different? It's like
So
my
we're-
parents would always do the thing like if it was a sexual like violence, don't give a shit.
Yeah. We were exposed to
Sexual
a lot-
scene, close your eyes, fast forward. That's it.
We didn't watch
Real
tons
quick.
of stuff.
Before we go too off topic, do we have anything else we want to add to Treasure Planet?
Really, really strong. It's not a 10 out of 10, but it change a few things and it would be. It's right on the cusp of being like in the greatest animated films of all time. That's right.
think
It's really close.
I think it's properly appreciated nowadays, even though it wasn't when it first came out. I think people came around to it, and now everybody seems to
I think
be
anyone
like,
who
oh, yeah.
saw it came around to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a cult classic now.
Yeah, great, fantastic movie. I don't think we plan on rating these movies, just doing a little bit of appreciation for it. And then next week, we'll try to get another poll up for that. I will mention now, or we're not getting it off just yet, but
A poll.
I'm not going to be here
Twitter?
next week, so maybe,
all right.
Emily will join us again, and
Hey.
AC won't be in the
He's
dead.
committed now. Okay, no.
Yeah.
Anyone who can show up to the show, show up to the show. If you can't, you're dead to me forever. But, it's fine. It's fine. Also,
Yeah,
real
and-
quick, while we're still on Treasure Planet, your wife asked, "What would you change?" Is there anything you would change about the movie? Either of you? I have answers, but I'll let you answer.
I very specifically want more scenes of him on the sailor board thing. There was not enough scenes of that. No, honest to God, I'm very serious about that. It like actually disappointed me when I was a kid. I thought he'd be on it like a lot
The
more.
Solar Surfer, yeah.
Silver solars, no.
Well,
I
I felt like they could have had some scenes of him. I don't know, just doing it.
It is just a sailboard that has a jet engine on it. That's all it is, and it's perfect. It's all
Yeah.
it needs to be.
Yeah, because nobody else is going to do it now.
I would
too,
have a
'cause-
little bit more of that. Honestly, some of the ending feels a little. The pacing of the ending is a little bit bad, and then Ben as a character needs to be rewritten or just gotten rid of altogether.
Mm.
Those are maybe the two biggest things. But yeah, no.
I would like if I could change anything. This is a big one. I think most people will probably disagree with me on this. Shocking, but the 3D aspect of it, I like
Oh,
hand painted backgrounds. This was the start of like, well, think about it.
Why would you go animate it then?
With the exception of like Studio Ghibli, how many hand drawn, hand animated movies have come out in the past 15 years? It's probably
Well,
been
Disney
20
and
plus years.
Pixar and like DreamWorks even, they've all moved
Princess and
completely
the Frog.
away from it.
That's what I'm saying. It's all gone 3D for
Wait,
whatever reason.
Ghibli's not
your-
all animated either.
But at all, because the behind the scenes and stuff, it seems like they're painting everything by hand.
Most of it, but no, they
yeah.
use 3D assets too. That's just
Maybe
more
there's less of
cleverly,
them then. I guess this one, I felt like in this one it was very obvious, and I'm like, I want that. I want as much of it hand drawn as possible. I like
It
that.
was also
aesthetic
pretty
and-
new technology then. Like,
Oh, yeah,
like
they
you
were
said, it was just
experimenting
using
a lot.
Tarzan before
Like I
that.
said, nobody's going to agree with me, but if I could make a change, I would love to see it with less of that 3D thing that they did and more just traditional
But here's-
filmmaking, like akin to the old ones like Cinderella or Sleeping Beauty or Snow
Well,
White.
here's the problem: is like you're not going to get as dynamic as like shots. You're not going to get him on that board doing as fluid as motions as he did. Like the amount of time and effort it would take to try to do the animated.
it
is,
would
like,
it would probably
impossible.
look worse even with your best people on it.
I'd still like
Well,
to see it.
they cut it down. Yeah.
I'd still like to see it.
Well, you're wrong.
Well,
So-
It's like wanting to hear a song that you love with like I don't know, no auto tune or pitch correct or something, or I don't know. To me, it's just I'm not saying it'd be better. I'm just saying that's what I would change because I'd like
These
to
are
see
all tools. They're all tools. They have their places. Like
You're right. They are
sometimes
all
3D is
tools.
better
All
than
these
2D
people are
animated.
tools. If only had done a 2D animation, Everly would be happy. But no.
I'm fine with it. I would be curious to see what that.
I'm fine
movie
with it, but it is
like.
garbage. I just want everybody.
All right. To our next topic. I don't know how you felt about this when I posted this up as an idea. I guess a little bit of writing advice. I was kind of thinking when a lot of times people they have a main character and they're just overpowered, and like to avoid the Mary suit, right? Like what's an easy way to do that? Because I feel like sometimes people accidentally write their character kind of overpowered and don't realize it. And my idea was just like, well, let your team be overpowered. Like, I don't think anyone has a problem if the team is overpowered. Does that make sense?
You have well that like I'm going to use a really good character example to talk about this particular subject. One of the oldest in the book, Superman. How do you write a good Superman story when a properly written Superman is all good and all powerful? Nice. A story is about essentially conflict. It could be a different kind of conflict than just physical, but a story is essentially conflict, a breaking of the norm. How do you write a good story when your main character is all good and all powerful?
This is going to be sort of like the novel novella. I'm going to take the unpopular approach. You just write it, man, and I'd be all over it, because there's going to be things where that's not the case. But it's so, like, if I just want like a slice of cake, I don't care that there's carrots out in the world or whatever. I want a slice of cake, man. Just give me the good guy that kicks butt and is awesome and he's just good. I think that's fine. That do exist out there. I want that, and there's so few stories like that. Because
am I the moderate guy on this freaking panel?
Like I don't care.
Battsauce and Evan, you guys are on either end. I'm right in the middle.
No, I'm probably more moderate as well. I mean, with Superman, he's not the smartest person, so you can throw him in a story where he has to think his way. He has to think his way out, or you could just, I don't know. I guess put him through I don't really. See, that's the thing. I don't really like Superman that much because of how overpowered he is.
I love him for
Doesn't mean I don't enjoy some stories he's in, like when I watch Justice League. But my first instinct is like, his powers don't interest me.
Yeah, like I never saw Batman versus Superman because I hear Batman can put up a fight. I'm like, I don't want to watch that. I just want to see Batman.
Yeah, he totally can't put up a fight.
That movie was one of the most disappointing films I've ever seen in theaters.
That movie was terrible, but. Batman shit, the one that was based off of the animated movie,
Dark Knight Returns.
And the comic, that 2-part movie, that was awesome. And watching Batman kick Superman's ass that way was awesome.
I just want to see Superman fly away and just shoot him with his lasers, and that's the end of the fight. I'm like, yeah, you got him.
Batman Returns is one of the most overrated popular comic books of all time. Battsauce, I know you're gonna be upset. I wish I had moderation powers like you. No, there were some good things, but it did.
Yeah, give me ideas.
You son of a gun! I have a voice. I will not be muted.
You got Warhammer, bro.
No, so we can accept the fact that Iron Man can face the Hulk with a Hulkbuster suit, but we can't accept the fact that Batman can have power armor that can maybe withstand a punch or two from Superman.
Have you ever seen the animated Justice League film, Justice League War?
I might have.
There's a scene where Green Lantern and Batman confront Superman, and the interaction between Superman and Batman in that scene is how 99% of every combat situation between them would go. It's Batman throwing every clever idea he has at Superman, and Superman's being like, "What are you doing, bro?"
Yeah.
So here's my problem, and this goes along with comics in general, right? And you ever watch Death Battles on YouTube?
Yes.
I've seen a couple.
And so like they'll bring up some random comic that like, oh, Superman actually lifted a book of infinite pages, that's infinite weight, so he has infinite strength. And I'm like, okay, cool. Then how do people hit him with a car and he goes down? I'm like, you're saying he has enough
That's a problem
strength.
when you've been in comics for 80 years.
Yeah. Well, no, it probably happened in the same fucking comic, right? Like just earlier in the story, somebody just throws a car and he goes, "Oh, I got it." Right? And then later he's lifting a son.
Right. You know why? It's because he's so good that he's acting, so the bad guys feel like they're doing something to him.
Okay.
He's just like, well, you got me that time.
I've arrested this guy like 8 times now. I mean, I gotta give him a little win.
He's just having fun.
Like, imagine him in prison being like, "Yeah, I ran over Superman, bitch."
Yeah. or when they're like, good. He actually went from one side of the universe to another in this much time, so he's actually this fast. And it's like, well, then how come he let this other person fall to the ground?
The truth is,
It's like,
any character can beat any character if the comic writer decides it is so. That is how Squirrel Girl saved the Avengers and defeated Thanos. Squirrel Girl.
That's dumb. That's dumb. Nobody likes Squirrel Girl. Nobody likes Squirrel Girl.
Fat lesbian who can control rodents. Her. She
that's a dumb comic
saved the Avengers, according to a comic line.
Yeah.
But
what I'm saying is though is like you can't just take like the best and like the best somebody's done and then like attribute that to like every type of like made up fight. You have to take like a better baseline. Be like, look, if somebody can be hit by a car and be hurt, that needs to be taken in effect or thrown into the mathematical equation of what his actual strength would be in this fight.
I do agree, but let's bring it. Also, Readout Productions, absolutely correct. Your comment there, yes.
Which one,
girl? Anyway,
I have no idea what
I'm saying.
In this conversation, but
People like Batman stories for a couple reasons, but I'm going to make a statement. This is not a comment on how much I enjoy either character. A Batman story, a good Batman story, is easier to write than a good Superman story.
Oh, I agree with that.
yeah, for sure.
Batman has a lot of very inherent flaws, and he deals with the darker aspects of humanity in his stories by his nature more often than Superman. It's an automatic
underdog,
easier, like it's a 3 or 4 steps up in terms of ease in regards to writing. It's a lot easier to write that kind of story, but a very well told story about an overpowered character like Superman can be life altering and very, very good, i.e. All-Star Superman or some of the other stories. But that's what I've heard.
Yeah,
I feel like with Batman too, it's easy to write lots of stories because he's so bad at his job. Guys are always getting out. Arkham Gotham's still a mess.
On the ground. He's already dead.
It's just a band-aid, man.
I'll fight to the grave with this one, all right? Ow, cramp. Oh, wrong leg. Wrong leg.
Somebody clip that. We just saw bat leg.
Which leg is it on?
A buddy of mine is a big Batman fan, and that just...
Are you trying to find a tattoo that you forgot that... Look... How can you lose your tattoo, Battsauce? It's on your body! There you go. This is a really
that looked
weird
like the Contra.
Imagine
the
if someone came into the stream
icon.
right then.
They'd be like, "Well, I'm just sticking around."
It's the Red Hood. Subscribe, like and comment.
That joke aside, I do feel that way on some level about Batman. But yeah, his stories are more interesting because he's human. He just has and you have the ability. He's got new devices and gadgets coming up. And Superman, how's he going to fight the bad guys? Same way every time. But Batman has to get, he's got to think, he's got to plan, all that. So of course it's more interesting.
Yeah, you had to
There's
put
way more
Superman
risk
in a crazy situation to make it interesting.
Well, how do you have a show where you have a character like the Superman? Well, let's look at anime. Anime does a really good job with this right now. You have 2 different choices basically. You can have them be losing power and or have a terrible injury or weakness, aka All Might from My Hero Academia. He is a Superman archetype character with a severe, secret limitation that people are unaware of. But we as the audience know, so that creates tension when we watch, because it's like, he cannot maintain this for as long as other people believe. Or you treat the overpowered character like Goku or One Punch Man. One Punch Man will never lose a fight. But is he smart enough to get there in time to save everybody else? Mm-hmm. Probably not. That's where the tension comes from. You fear for the other characters. You fear for Genos every time he gets his body pulverized in every single fight because he's a bitch. But and then Saitama One shows up.
Make me go into Invincible again, just because. So Watchmen, you got Watchmen. You have Dr. Manhattan, right? Who's essentially a god, right?
But he gets tricked.
Right. So he's not omniscient.
I had a lot of problems with Watchmen.
Well, he doesn't have omniscient. Like, he doesn't know everything all the time.
He doesn't know
right?
everything.
There are still limits to his powers. But there's it becomes this whole morality conflict, and there's him losing a sense of self because, or humanity because of his powers and everything. And then you look at a character that has very similar powers, almost kind of the same. From Invincible, what the hell is her girl? Her Adam Eve, who can
she's OP as
anything,
F, dude.
She's super OP, but her powers always conveniently don't do whatever at all. And I don't know. What I'm saying is she's so uninteresting because the level of her powers should have some sort of effect on her mind or the world around her, like it did with Dr. Manhattan. It doesn't have to be the same extent, but something. And it's nothing. She's just like a normal schoolgirl, like la di da da da. I'm just gonna go do.
Oh yeah, and she doesn't wear a mask,
whatever.
but nobody knows who she is. At least Clark wears the glasses, man. I'm a little. Eve, she doesn't do anything. She doesn't wear.
She can't affect living tissue, but she can grow trees. She can solve world.
That's a big argument from the comics too. Basically, it's like she could, but you see, they put this psychic mental block in when she was a fuck.
Well, yeah, but that psychic block doesn't affect. I hate Invincible, and I hate how much people like it.
I don't hate it. Hey, Invincible is better than The Boys. Full stop on every level. Maybe not
not The Boys season 1. I would disagree with that. But let's get off Invincible because I've talked about Invincible too many times.
We have talked about Invincible quite a bit.
But I had a question that deals somewhat like this. Should comic book stories reset? Right? Because there's a whole thing, and I just recently made a video talking about like the problems with comic books and how manga is kind of crushing them. And some people say it's because people don't know where to start, and that is definitely a great point. So then, what's the solution? Do they reset the stories?
I have some suggestions for people. If you're wanting to get into a Western comic that's been ongoing, like with characters that are 50 years old or older, you don't go and try to start from the beginning. You look for a graphic novel collection of the stories. It's a contained story from start to finish. Like read Daredevil, The Man Without Fear, or read Daredevil Born Again. Go ahead and read Thor, Planet Hulk, followed by Hulk Worldbreaker if you want. Maybe Hulk Heart of the Monster. That's a really good one as well. But you get a collection that tells a story from start to finish within the continuity. That way, the continuity does not matter as much. And that's one solution. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for everyone who wants to read everything. Manga basically does this anyway, but also manga doesn't reset. Evely, what do you think about Marvel and DC resetting their comic universe over and over again?
I don't know. I'm torn on it. Over and over again seems excessive to me. At a certain point, it's like I think you should just be like a manga where it's like this is a story, it's done, that's it. We're moving on. We're gonna have to use our imagination and come up with something new. Like that's good and like go. We
can't come up with anything new, so we're just gonna recite. We're gonna milk these characters until they're dry as a.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think that if you it can be done well. I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but I could see a reboot being like or a reset being like, okay, this is cool. This is a different take. That's fun. It's all good and well. And if it's as long as it's not, I don't like the multiverse thing where like none of it matters because there's any instance of anything. I'm like, that sucks.
There are ways to do the multiverse right, but modern comics do not know how to.
Well, for like standoff things, I just would rather not. I mean, I'm with you that. Look, DC Marvel, I think resetting it doesn't fix it. I think there is no fixing it. Like I think they just screw themselves.
They're done. They're boned
by not creating new characters at any point for like the past. However, I know they've created new characters, but like they haven't like focused on them. They keep focusing on the old, and I'm like they just were digging themselves in a deeper and deeper hole. And it's like, well, now anything anybody knows you from is from those really old IPs that people were really sick of, and they're never going to go to the new stuff. I don't know what to tell you, dude. But,
well, it's like we've had 3 Batmans and 3 Spider-Man in less than like 15 or 20 years. Separate ones, all live action.
I still haven't seen the original trilogy.
Emily!
They're in that room. I just haven't sat down and watched them.
Dare you?
I heard they're the best though. I saw the one with the Andrew Garfield.
Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2 are 2 of the best comic book movies ever made.
They are.
It's another one.
They have none of the Marvelisms. None of them.
What's exciting is I have like all these movies I haven't seen that people are like, this movie's so good. I'm like, cool. I have like all these. It'll be my like. I'll get to experience them fresh, and I'm excited for it. But
Hold
like-
on, let me be Emily. Hey guys, like I haven't really seen this movie. What? Everyone, guys, calm down, calm down. I'll watch it. I'm probably gonna hate it. I'm letting you know right now.
I don't know. I find that I tend to like older properties better than the new ones because I give them more leeway, generally speaking. But
Also,
Well, it's
your
interesting,
wife asked a
Conan-
question. What about an unstoppable villain? Look at Doctor Strange, the first movie. Dormammu, like that, like he's an alternate. He's the essence of chaos from another dimension. If he had come through to this dimension, it would have been game over.
Unless-
But he was introduced to a concept that he couldn't
Well-
possibly understand. That's
Well,
one
what-
way. Or you have him like they do have a weakness, but it's secret. Like in Mistborn, the first book in the Mistborn series by Brandon
Emperor.
Sanderson, the immortal emperor of this world that has been conquered. Like you've read that Battsauce, haven't you?
Yeah, fantastic.
I think that's a good example of the invincible villain, so to say.
no
Yeah.
villain is truly invincible if Brie Larson's Captain Marvel shows up.
Yeah, she is the villain anytime she shows up.
Oh, she is. Oh, there's the twist.
Was the villain Miriam? Yeah, so she mentions
Oh,
Miriam.
Miriam was
Hunter. Yeah.
I've talked about how I don't love Hunter x Hunter the same way, and all the reasons why, but Miriam was a great character.
Yeah, he's an awesome villain. Yeah. I mean, essentially, and again, you related to, yeah. I mean,
Evely, you don't know, you don't have the context here. He is a super mutant bred from an ant that anything it eats it gains the genetic property of, and he is the ultimate being in that kind of class of character. He plays board games and stabs people in the neck with his tail. That's most of with ultimate power.
That kind of sounds like
his story.
Cell a little bit. That's one of my
It is.
few cultural
It is.
reference
Very
points.
much. I
it's
think he is a
perfect.
huge. Cell
Hey, I
reference,
got
yeah.
something.
he literally looks like Cell too.
He
A lot of
does,
Hunter
yeah.
x Hunter.
I didn't
is-
think about
is-
that until,
is
and also
Dragon Ball Z.
Gon goes through his Goku, like his version of the Super Saiyan mode as well.
Well, I think
so.
I mentioned it off stream. Like that, basically, Hunter x Hunter is like it's a commentary on Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it's like a dark version of Dragon Ball
Oh man.
with
Yeah.
less Dragon Balls in general. Just as many balls, just less Dragon. I don't know what I'm saying, man.
But yeah, I mean, I guess that ends the conversation of the comics. Is there any other topics y'all wanted to talk about?
Also, to answer your question, no, comic stories should not constantly reset. I think it's fine to tell like an alt-world version of it, like Marvel did their like Marvel 1520s kind of thing, or their zombie Marvel. Like, I think that's fine. It's an alternate. It's a way to show alternate designs for characters, or show them characters with the same abilities in a different context, or with a reimagining of it in a different world. That's a cool idea, but it doesn't reset the universe. I think that, reset. You should not reset the universe over and over
No.
again.
Yeah, I agree.
No, well, DC even tried that. They tried that with the New 52, and it was a failure.
Oh,
that was
and then
years
they did it again like 3 years later. Yeah, 5
Yeah.
years later, maybe.
So there is no fixing it. Just go to the Iron Seas where we have indie stories.
You too can be an iron seaman, the hardest seaman of them all.
Okay. I'm at 180 subscribers, guys. Get like 20 more.
Wow.
I imagine 20 people are going to watch this that aren't subscribed. Hey, get me 20. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
Yeah, boys.
But you know,
Let's get
the
it up
Conan,
to 200. Show your moms.
the Conan stories, the comic books are doing pretty well. And that's a world that a lot of people don't know about. And that still has a lot that could be built on. So that's like an untapped world. So it's like just tap into that more. Or,
Oh,
and then bring up another universe.
They
that's
could do more
completely
with
new.
Solomon Kane too. I mean, they have done some modern stuff that didn't quite live up, but it was still fine. Or like
Fine.
Michael Moorcock, the OG, like the guy who basically pioneered a lot of the ideas about a multiverse in stories. Always overlooked, always underappreciated. The entire, like, a huge portion of the character of Elric of Mel Nibene is based on the fact that he is an eternal champion and a part of the multiverse, and that a version of him exists in all universes, but they're all completely. It's not like in the Flash where it's like, oh, look, this Flash is a different color from a different universe. No, it's
This
like a
one's a pig.
completely different person. The position is the same and the purpose is the same, but the character is different in each universe. And like that, like he had a really, really cool imaginings of why and how the multiverse worked. Like it's weird how the Pioneers nowadays, if you reread them, it feels fresh because it's not been copied to shit and ruined.
There's some stories that are built for the multiverse or built for time travel. I like there's I can't remember the name of it. Blake Crouch, I think he's the writer. He did a multiverse story that I thought was awesome. Time travel one. Dark Matter, I think, was the multiverse one.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
And then it's not Requiem. It's some other complicated time word. It's time book, and I thought that was awesome. So it was like in those instances, I love time travel. I love multiverse, but typically when it gets added to a universe that wasn't previously in, like.
Did you guys ever watch Fringe?
Yeah.
Fringe had like a split universe that kind of worked out all right. But it's only two.
You can do it well.
That's not
multiverse.
multiverse.
It's very easy to let it become a crutch in your storytelling.
Parallel universe, I guess, would it be? That's just two.
I don't know what the term is, but having more than one universe isn't like multiverse, because typically multiverse is like infinite possibilities, or
everything exists somewhere in the multiverse kind of thing.
There's different versions of you. If there's like another universe, but it doesn't consist any version of you, that's not a multiverse.
Yeah, all right. Parallel universe, I think, is more my thing. Or triverse. I'd go quadverse. We can do that, but once you get after like
four verses, one winner, 3 losers.
But hey, Emily, you had an ad that you wanted to show, don't you?
I had an ad.
Yeah, one of your annual ads.
I sent some to AC, but I don't have them like
Anvil magazine ads by Everly Music.
You can present it if you got it.
I don't even know where it's at.
I can look. It's on YouTube. Man, I'll look it up. Hold on.
They're on YouTube? I wonder if you put them up.
I know you put one on Twix, but I think they are both. At least one of them was on YouTube.
Huh? They're not on my channel. I never got around.
You did, you lying?
I did not. They are not on my channel. Is there an imposter?
Okay, let's see if I can find it on your dang channel.
All right, try to find my dang channel, dude. I'm telling you.
All right. So we'll probably be closing up this in just a second, but before that, we'll have a poll up this week.
Nice.
What movie we're gonna watch for the weekend?
Oh no, it's not. I lied. I lied. I was wrong.
You didn't lie. You're just sitting out.
So look out for that. We're probably only going to put 4 movies this time, and we're going to talk about it. Also, so I'm assuming the Kahuna is going to do it. This show is going to be on AC's channel next week, probably. Look on our Twitter to make sure. Also, when Kahuna posts the poll, make some comments to make some points of what you maybe want us to talk about with the movie or something like that we watch.
Also, see, Beth, you spelled that wrong. It's POLE, not POLL.
It's actually POLLE.
Oh, okay. We're both wrong. Heavily with that college education coming in here.
Yes,
say it right.
Yeah, poll.
Adjust monocle.
I can't make a poll here. In the future, hopefully we have the polls ready in stream so you can vote. You have to make the stream to vote to see what we watch. But
yeah, we'll pick it. We'll pick a theme for the next 4, and all 4 of us will suggest something within that theme. It'll be fun.
So they haven't already been chosen. This is
okay. We're too busy making intros and outros.
Yeah,
they're fantastic.
Failing to do.
That's what the people come for. They watch the intro, like that's all I need, and they head out.
Dude, the intro slaps, man.
It is
so before we go, I guess, Evely, what are you watching? What are you reading? You're probably not watching. What do you?
Yeah, I'm not watching much of it. Actually, I started Short Circuit the other day.
Oh,
it's like
that's
an 80s movie about a robot. Classic. Yeah. I haven't seen it since I was a kid, so I was watching that. And
you know he's not actually Indian, right?
No, I didn't know that.
He's not. It's this whole controversy. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
This is a straight up white guy. Yeah.
Okay, I watch and read things. I'll have like 5 going at once. So I have several movies I'm watching that I'm like part way into.
I guess
that
movies
was one
are bad. What you reading? Yeah.
And Hell followed with him, I believe. Major League
followed. Yeah.
Yeah, I started that one. About a third of the way into Gatling Legacy. I'm reading beta reading for Brian McCoppin, his second book in the Record of the Paladins franchise.
Ivan and Ivor or something like that. I have it too.
Yeah. It's I'm really enjoying it so far. I really like it.
He starts off in Hawaii.
Yeah, he does.
Hawaii.
And there's like a little monster demon dude running around. I can't remember his name. It was like Hanuki or something.
It's great. No spoilers, but he starts off like a foot tall because he was trying to like trick a little girl, and then they're like, he's like, oh, we're fighting. He like goes up to like 10 feet.
Yeah, it's fun. I like his style of writing. Got those two going on. Oh, heck, I'm still reading through Anvils. I got a whole bunch of books. I don't have them off the top of my head. The other ones that I'm digging into. I still got to get to A.C. Pritchard's. I got his
Mortal Descent. I like his because it's 3 short stories, and you can read just one story at a time.
It's something I could definitely.
Accessible.
Oh wait, so Mortal Descent is the 3 spirit animal stories?
No, it's not spirit animals at all. It's completely different. Yeah.
I'm still working on Haley Star Bad Kitty from.
I'm working on that too. I've been reading it to my kid actually. Yeah,
Wrangling. Yep. So doing that one, and then I know there's 1 or 2 other ones that and I shouldn't do this. People tell me read one book and finish it, and then go to the next one. I'm like, no, I need to they used to call it ADD, where I'm like, that's how I am. I'm a pinball brain. So
now they just call you medicated slave. No.
Hopefully we can get these projects synced up, and we can discuss some of these people's projects.
Definitely
once I finish the Black Crown, which I'll definitely, when I come back from my trip, I'll have Black Crown done.
Wow.
So we can talk about that.
Nice.
You guys heard it here. If it doesn't happen, you know what to do.
I'm gonna need like 6.5 months on that one. I might have it finished by maybe the end of the summer, because I think after I get through these, I'll get to that. But
that's fair.
Well,
Battsauce. What are you reading right now?
I was going to ask you, what are you reading?
Let me see. I am reading the. Hold on. Let me see. I gotta check my list. I read between 6 and 12 books at a time right now. Junkyard Dogs by I thought
you were going to say Joy Behar. I was going to be like, what?
Oh, no. Junkyard Dogs by Craig Johnson. It's one of the 18 or 19 books in the Longmire mystery series, one of my favorite series of all time. I'm reading The Shadow Rising, one of the books in the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. I'm reading Haley Star Bad Kitty. What is it? I'm reading Jisadai 2.
Oh, that was fun.
I'm reading a Kiniwazi Saga by M.D. Boncher.
I can't even say that title.
I told him I could try reading a sample chapter. I don't know if I can. The words are so hard. I'm normally better with words, man, but they're all like those like Norwegian style words, and they're authentically those words. So I'm completely boned, dude. But yeah, I'm reading those, and then like 1 or 2 others as well. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
All right. So for myself, I'm reading The Black Crown by John A. Douglas. And that's all I'm reading, because I only read 1 book at a time.
Good for you. Yeah.
Good for you.
That's right. Good. No, you might actually finish it.
Evely and I over here like,
yeah, man.
Headphones in, listening to a book, reading 2 other books.
Yes, having a conversation, mowing the lawn.
I do have some projects on the way. Look, I can fit in a comic book at least, right? I just don't have
Lucent. I got the Lucent too. That was another one. I just got.
I need to reread that too. I'm also reading Berserk Deluxe Volume 4.
Oh, Berserk. Oh, catch up with blood.
I haven't read it yet.
Dude, it's you're in for it. But so you made me lose my train of thought, man. So I'm really so I do and I got my audiobook though. That's different. I'm listening to the first book in the Sun Eater Chronicles. From your recommendation.
Very good.
And so far, enjoying it. I'm only a couple chapters in now, but besides that, I have some projects on the way. I have Lord Otter's book coming. I'm going to start that after The Black Crown, which
Curse of the Star Wraith, Steel and Storm. Right. Yeah. Good book.
Besides that, I also got B.A. Turner's book, Vigilante's Creed. So I'll probably start that after.
I started that one too.
$4. You started, so man, it's so annoying. But besides that, I have I also have the tome the Tome of the Reckoning, book 3 coming in the mail too. And I have another random. I picked up a random comic that was pretty popular from. Just I know that's a great comic. I reviewed it. That's a great start to a comic.
Raid of the White Leopard.
Right.
And what the hell is it? Oh yeah, Coney Waves. Cheeky story.
Animation
has a lot of great assets in this story. There's a lot of plot.
She's got a
going on in
surfboard,
this
man.
story.
That's tying right back in.
A lot of plot in the shower scene, especially. But
I bet.
All right, boys.
Have you any last words before you walk the plank, sir? You can't do this, you maniac!
I want to do this every time somebody's like, "Oh, I gotta go." That's all I got.
Wait.
I gotta get a collection of clips.
Are we still live? Are we clear?
No, we're live. We're live.
Oh, I saw that ad plan. I thought it was okay. Sorry.
Put it away.
Okay.
No, with that, all right, guys. Let me get ready to get off here. It's been fun. Any last words, guys?
Evely, you first.
Me first.
Welcome to the show. By the way, thanks for
there we go.
Thanks
Yeah,
for coming aboard, man. We'll be doing some of our comic stuff under the banner of the Iron Seas as well.
Thanks for having me, part of the Sea Boys. Appreciate it, and good to meet you. And
he's also a seaman.
And fake in person there, Bats. And thanks for having me on, guys. It was fun. I appreciate it. Maybe look forward to maybe coming back at some point.
Yeah.
Arg, mateys, thank you for coming aboard our here ship on the Iron Seas. Next week, we'll have a new movie to watch, more stories to discuss, and we'll show you the darkest depths of the human soul in regards to storytelling. Hi-ho, Silver! Away!
All right, grab an oar and join the Iron Seas.
You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one.
Me chest, lad. He'll be coming soon. Can't let him find this.
Who's coming?
The cyborg. Beware the cyborg.
What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of your women. That is